Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Network Installers. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I thought I'd take you somewhere nice for a change. Check out our surroundings. Not too bad, eh? Not every day you get to work in this kind of scenery. Oh, here come the boys. That's them in the van. They're coming to join me. And today we are working on a solar farm. I can't get into which installation this is, but they all kind of look something like this, rows and rows of panels. Lots of goodies underneath, and solar farms have a really fun thing that we get to work with, which is fiber optic cabling. So we're going to be doing some of that today. Let me show you the space that we're going to be working with. Okay, so here we are at one of the communications cabinets. Let me get inside and show you what we're dealing with. Now, inside these cabinets, there is network equipment that's meant to monitor the status of all those panels and their inverters and the electricity being generated, etc. There's also old network stuff that's from people trying to do what we're about to do and failing or giving up partway through. So there was at one point Ethernet extenders meant to go, like you can see, it's quite far. There's a good distance down there. So they tried Ethernet extenders, all that. Then they tried classic indoor fiber that melted. So we're going to be pulling armored cables for this purpose. I got stuck to the door there. And the device that actually matters, the only device that matters, is this one right here. This is an industrial switch. So industrial switches, if I'm like holding this, it is so hot, you would not believe. I could cook an egg on that almost. Industrial switches are meant to work in extreme environments. So this is going to hold up to heat just fine. It's a very expensive switch for that reason, but that'll get the job done. So this particular switch already has a fiber going in and a fiber going out. So the way that these are meant to work is there's going to be this pad that we're at, there's another pad down the way, and then another pad after that. We're going to go fiber in to one switch and then fiber out to the next pad. So these are all daisy chained and in series. And we're going to be pulling some new cables through this pipe. Let's take a look at that pipe. So we're going to get over here to the ground where Jeff has got the cover off. And we're going to take a look at what's in one of these pull boxes. So what's in one of these pull boxes is we've got our feed coming from the previous pad. We've got our outbound going to the next pad, and it's a ways down there. And then this little guy has, if you look, there are multiple cables going in there. So these multiple cables are going up to the pad where they're working, and then the stuff's going in, it's coming out, and then it's going to the next one. So the in feed loops up, we got a service loop, then it goes in, goes up to the pad unit, to the switch. When it comes back from the switch, it loops up again, it's got a service loop, and then it goes out. So that's what we're looking at right here. We're going to be setting up our spool of fiber right there, and then we are going to pull a new leg of fiber down this pathway, and it'll be armored and it'll be durable and it'll be able to deal with the conditions in which we're working. Why don't we get a look at our fiber now? Okay, so here we are in the van, and here's our spool of fiber. You'll notice that it's pre-terminated. So the characteristics of this fiber are that it is ST connectors, Sierra Tango, which are the twist-on metal style. And then we've got armored outdoor direct bury cable. This was a custom spool that we ordered just for this project. This is the goal here, if we can manage it, is to get these connectors intact to the other side. Both ends of this are terminated. So there'll be connectors on the front and on the back of this entire spool. And we're going to pull that all the way down. And if we can get them there intact, then wonderful. But if we can't, at least the other side, the starting point, will have connectors there. So that's half as many fusions, even if we accidentally break this. And I'll go over how to pull this in just a moment once we've got it out of here and set up on the spool holder. We'll talk about the correct way to tie onto this so that you don't bust off all the connector heads. Speaking of pulling, here's a device we don't get to use too often, which I'll pull out now. This might be of interest to some of you who are going to be doing some cable installations. So for really far runs or really heavy friction runs or things where we got to overcome some sort of barrier, this is a power assist puller. So what you do is you're going to take a power drill, you're going to put the chuck right on this, and as the drill turns, you'll see that this thing pulls. So I'll have this assembled shortly. We're going to put it in the ground bucket where they're working, and then we're going to use the electric puller to save our backs from having to pull 1,000 feet of fiber. Like you're going to get tired. You're going to wear out long before this thing does. So as long as we got batteries and a good strong drill, this thing makes pulling those long distance ones a lot easier. So we're going to dismantle everything, get ourselves set up, unpacked, and then we will take it from there.
Just making sure that you can handle crashes.
Need to shift it a little bit more. Throw me a bit. Thank you. There you go. All right, so this is the pulling eye, and the pulling eye is what you attach to that doesn't break all your connectors. That's going to be pre-installed by the manufacturer of this cable, so when we custom ordered it, this is part of what you're paying for, is having a nice pulling eye attached. The far end is these loose cords, which we've taped out of the way. When we run the spool all the way down, these will be what's just left, and then we'll gently feed that in. And we might even take the pulling eye off and reuse it in case there's debris or other obstacles in that pipe. We'll protect the connectors with that. So a person has to stay here and feed these cables so that our spool doesn't fall over. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong, and fiber, even if it's armored, is a little delicate and susceptible to breaking if we lose control of it and let it topple over. So someone will be stationed right here, lengthening these out so that we don't deal with too much friction from the spool, and they'll be helping it go into the duct right there. And then our friends at the other end will be pulling.
So those bolts you got?
Yeah?
They don't fit.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Worth a shot.
The string moving? Yep, string's moving. Okay. That's our guy. That's our guy. Are you attached to it or not yet? Not yet. Okay.
All right. Let's see what we got. So there's our in feed, out feed, old school fiber, feeder pipe down, feeder pipe. So that buck's over there. Toasty warm. So we'll pull fiber between the last one and this one, and then we should be back online. So right now you probably can see there is no link light for these because this is damaged between there and here. So that's what we're here to fix today, is to get these talking again. Okay, so Johnny wants to risk his back and not get the pulling assist, so I'm gonna let him. Check this out. There's our cable going, and it's wet. Yeah, getting stuck. So there it is. Pulling it, and it's soaking wet, which is always the case with these pipes. Sorry about my finger. There is always water in these pipes. So when it rains, this box is going to fill up with water and then slowly percolate back down, and a lot of that will get trapped in those pipes and be there for all time until someone like us comes and pulls wet wires through these lines. Having fun yet?
Always having fun.
All right, so when John gets tired of killing himself doing that, we'll switch to this. The way this works is you run the drill, the puller goes, forward or reverse. You're going to take your string and you're going to wrap it around this, right? build up some friction, and then you're going to let the puller pull. When you hit the trigger, that's going to pull the string. And that's all you got to do. Just got to stand there and hold it steady. Now the end of this has a little beveled edge, and that's where this string would go. So you'd put that right on the edge here. That way your angle is not so critical. You can work the tool from a standing position or lower yourself, and the string will just slide over this bevel, make life a lot easier. But John's afraid he's going to lose his man card if he has to resort to the tool. We'll take it away afterwards anyway.
Now it's shut.
That's normal. Perfectly normal. So it just pulls at a continuous pressure. Jeff just feeds it. It'll wind up right there, and then we X-Acto knife it at the end. Or we cut it with scissors. In the video, like where I bought this, they said you could just pull it, like slide that bundle of string to the left, and then you'd be clear and ready to go again. Not true.
Not true. Life is landed.
All right, we've run the spool out. We've got the cable where we need it. And now we're going to get that bundle up into our communications box. So let's talk about what we're going to do once we're in here. So we're going to bring the pre-terminated set up through this pipe, and then we're going to have it in this box. We're going to have to find a home for it. We've brought our own version of this, which is in this box. And then we're going to use this as a patch panel. And then these are the ST connectors that you're going to screw in. And then the pre-terminated sides just go right into this. And you run the patch cords, which are these. So we go from SC to ST in one patch cord. And then you're just going to patch into that. And we do that at both ends. And then we will be in business. So we'll get this assembled and show you. I think we'll probably put it like right there, face it that way, just make it easy to patch. And then the big thing for us will be strain relief. We don't want to put any strain on the cable right here. All right, we're going to fish it through right now. So we're just going to tie on that mule tape, and then we will be ready to wrap this up. So once he's got that, I'll be able to tug on this, and we'll be good. So did I say I was going to pull it? I was just kidding. I make everyone else do the work for me, take the credit at the end. That's how I do. John's going to pull it.
Well, I found where all the extra slack went.
Yeah, we found some extra mule tape. There wasn't much. There wasn't much in the pipe because it was all in the pipe.
Oh, I feel head.
Hey, converted to nylon. There's our
Got
guy.
it.
We got him.
And put a little extra. Good. Should be plenty.
Nah, more than
More?
that. We want to be able to loop it.
All right. Want to be able to loop it.
That's good. So this extra slack, we're going to service loop in the ground bucket, which is where the service loops belong most of the time when you're doing outdoors work like this, in the bucket. You can put it in the compad, but after, a few loops, you've really run out of space within your communications cabinet. And you don't, you're going to have lots of vendors in and out. You want your spare stuff in here, and then if something is damaged in the cabinet, you can just pull forward and it takes it from the service loop and it brings it into the cabinet. So that is usually the way that we like to do that. All right, there's Jordan there working, and here are my tools left out in the hot sun after I explicitly said what would happen, batteries die, etc. Plus this is going to be a whole kind of temperature right here. So I'm going to pack up the tools. I like to police the tools instead of letting them spread all over the job site. But we successfully got everything from there to here. And now we just have to terminate it, or not really terminate it since it's pre-terminated, but just sort of finish it in the comms panel. Okay, here we have our final product. We've got our light interface unit mounted on the wall. We've got it labeled, we've got it patched. Everything is not super tight. You don't do zip tie super tight with fiber or anything for that matter. I don't have any Velcro, so we're going to do the zip tie for now. Light is green, trap is clean. We're going to close this up and we're going to go tackle the other end, make sure that everything is nice and orderly, and then close up the job site. All right, friends, that was a quick fiber pull. Nothing too difficult. When you get everything pre-terminated from the manufacturer, life's a lot easier. So I'm going to get out of the sun here before I turn a certain shade of red, and I'll see you again on the next build. I'll answer any questions you might have in the comments. The number one thing is probably why are we doing multi-mode? And that is just a quirk of all the equipment that they use here. It's built in to their switches as a multi-mode transceiver, so that's just how it is. I would have done single mode had I had my own like design here. So as it is, let me know your questions in the comments and I will try and answer them. And I'll see you next time when we're pulling cables. Thanks, bye.